Hey guys, back with another impressions video on this game right here, Devil Survivor Overclocked, or Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked. Yeah, a crazy name. This was originally a DS game, and this is kind of a sort of a remake. Uh, the differences are kind of slight. I mean, there's no actual 3D in this game. I think it's only in like cutscenes maybe. I don't know. I turned the 3D off anyways, but there's an extra eighth day, so there's some added content here. I think voice acting is new for this one. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact differences, but I hadn't played the original DS game of this, and I've always wanted to play this game and just kind of never got around to it. Shin Megami Tensei, the series is slowly becoming my favorite RPG series. I've only played Persona 3, 4, and Shin Megami Tensei 4, but those games, all three of those games were amazing, and I thought for the next game in the series, I'd like to try something like this, which this is a strategy RPG, but it also has some turn-based elements where the battles kind of play out like a typical like grid-based turn-based strategy game, but the battles themselves, you pick your moves and you exploit the enemy's weaknesses. It's got like a very limited kind of press turn system that was seen in other the other Shin Megami Tensei games I've played, but it's definitely a unique game. I haven't really played much like this, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a great game. It's it's interesting. I don't think I like this as much as Shin Megami Tensei 4 or the Persona games, but I do like this. Strategy RPGs now, they aren't really like I like them. I'm just really bad at them. Fire Emblem, Awakening, I couldn't get through. Although that game, there was like this weird. I couldn't find a good middle ground where with permadeath on it was too frustrating for me, and without it on it was too easy. This game doesn't have permadeath or anything. There's two difficulty levels, easy and normal. I wussed out. I went with easy mode. I'm not good at strategy RPGs. I didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't want to have like a crazy difficult time. And even easy mode in this game is no joke. And I read online like the differences are very slight. Like honestly, the difference between easy and normal mode is just like a slight increase in experience and Maka payout. Maka is the money in this game. So there's not really much of a difference between the two difficulties anyways. And I mean, easy mode is plenty challenging. I don't think it's easy at all. But basically, the game kind of like I said before, it's like a grid-based strategy RPG where you have your team is no more than four characters, but each of these four characters can have two demons with them. And of course, as with all Shin Megami Tensei games, this has a heavy focus on demon fusing and purchasing demons from an auction, which is kind of a different thing for this game. But you have your teams. You go out and fight these enemies on these grid-based battles. There's different objectives. A lot of the time, it's just destroying all the enemies on the map. You might have to save some civilians for certain maps, and if they're killed, you fail. There's some annoying actually levels like that where with annoying kind of conditions, and actually that's where I lost. That's where I lost the most, were in those kind of battles, which was kind of a pain. But the battles themselves they're not too long actually, which I liked. They're never longer than like maybe 30 minutes, even like the final boss, which the ending I got Yuzu's ending. I did make it to the 8th day. I know there's certain endings that you get in the original Devil Survivor that if you get them in this game, you can't get to the 8th day. They just stop. Luckily, I was able to make it through the 8th day. I would have made sure I did anyways to see that extra content. But I did get that ending, which I know is apparently one of the worst endings, and the final boss is pretty easy on that ending. I didn't mind, though. I went and looked up the rest of the endings on YouTube. But other than that, like what I said before with the grid-based battles, you've got that. There's demon fusing, you're fusing demons, and you really want to do that in this game or else you're going to get slaughtered. There's a cool little auction system, like I said, where you can kind of place bids against other competitors to get new demons. And if you do like free battles or just the regular battles, new demons will show up in this auction house type deal. It's a neat system, and actually it's always what I use to get new demons to fuse with others. You can you have your compendium like with the Persona games and SMT4, but the demons are really expensive when you use that. Later in the game though, you have so much Maka that I did actually use that, but throughout the entire game I was pretty much using the auction system, which I thought was pretty fun. Though I did miss kind of, getting demons throughout like the maps, although I guess I don't know if it really would have worked all that well if they did that. The game progression is interesting. Like I said before, it's set up in 8 different days, and you have like kind of a time limit, but not really, where you got like this menu system where you choose different menu options, whether it be like an event, like talking to characters in Tokyo, or just doing a battle. And each of these will like pass 30 minutes, and you kind of go through these days. And there's free battles that you can take on, like a hard version and a normal version. You're going to want to do those because they give you new skills for your characters, which is like a part of a skill crack system where each character can learn a different skill from an enemy in these free battles and in the regular battles as well. So you're going to want to do this regularly to get all the skills you could want. And you're going to need all these different skills because there were some very useful ones that you can probably miss, I would imagine, if you don't do all the free battles. Their experience payouts aren't as high as the regular battles. You only get gold Maka at the end, but you do gain experience from just killing the enemies. I did notice if you were to do one free battle over and over again, the experience payout is less and less, so eventually they become useless. So they do discourage grinding to an extent, but there is that if you want to raise your demons up. But leveling up doesn't really, it's not a huge deal in this. Honestly, the best way to get through this game is to just fuse your demons. Just always have the strongest demons and the right skills on your demons and on your characters, and you'll generally be fine. Where I found this game was the hardest were the boss battles, and they're tough. They're just, it's one of those games where the boss battles just, they have so many advantages compared to you, like, and they can do things that you just can't, and it makes it kind of unfair at times. I gotta admit, the boss battles are pretty frustrating for me, but when you do finally kill them, it's pretty rewarding. And one particular boss, I was almost ready to give up. And then all of a sudden, I just thought of a certain strategy, and I thought, well, let me just try this strategy, and lo and behold, it worked. So that was really rewarding to kind of come up with that strategy and get past a really tough boss. The normal encounters that you run into though aren't that hard actually. Like, even though like the game's challenging, it wasn't ever too crazy. But like I said before, I'd always fail like whenever I wasn't sure exactly what I was supposed to be doing. Like sometimes I wasn't paying enough attention, and if like a certain character reached a certain point on the map, I would just fail automatically, and I don't know, that was kind of annoying. But yeah, it's it's a fast-paced battle system. When you run into these enemies, it turns into your like almost SMT4 style turn-based battle system where you pick your moves. You got to pay attention to the weaknesses of your demons and then the enemy demons. It's really fun. Like with all SMT games, really enjoyable. Story-wise, basically, the game takes place in Tokyo, and a lockdown has happened where like demons have kind of spread throughout the city, and you play like teenagers pretty much, and they all have these mysterious computers, and that let them summon demons and read emails where these emails will like predict future events. Like it will predict whether like a group of people could die or a particular character can die, and so you have to kind of save characters. Like I said before, you're going throughout these days, and what's interesting with this game is you have those multiple endings, so you get to choose where you'd like to go during each day, and that can affect the ending, which is that's pretty cool. The story itself, again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to dive into spoilers, but it's interesting. I don't love it. I still kind of prefer the storylines in like Persona 3 and 4, but it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. I like the characters a lot. I don't know. I really thought the characters were well done. A lot of like the side characters I thought were pretty interesting, except for Midori. I really did not care for her. She's probably my least favorite character in any SMT game I've played. If she felt like she would belong in some like lesser JRPG, I don't know. Wasn't a fan of her, but the story's neat. Some endings I think are better than others. My ending, for instance, that I got wasn't particularly satisfying, but overall, yeah, the story was definitely interesting enough to keep me going. I didn't really love it though. I think I did actually like the characters better than the story itself. But it's a lot darker than I expected though. I do like that. I do like the tone of the game. I like how dark it is. But music, the soundtrack I thought I actually wasn't too impressed with in this game. A lot of it is like the battle system is like the battle theme is very like heavy rock, like guitar solos. There's a few tracks that I liked that didn't play very often. There's not really much music in the game either. I mean, it's serviceable. It didn't annoy me or anything, but coming off of like SMT4 and the Persona games, the soundtrack was actually kind of disappointing here. Voice acting is really good though. Other than Midori, like I mentioned before, a part of her character, why I don't like her character, is the voice actress for her. But the voice acting other than her is fantastic. It's really well done, really loud too on the 3DS. So if that is true that they did voice acting for this game specifically, the 3DS version, that's pretty awesome. I like how they kind of went out of their way to do that, because the voice acting is actually really good. Yeah, visually, it's a DS game. I mean, there's, the characters are really tiny. There's not an insane amount of detail. The demons designs are pretty cool. There's some interesting demon designs here. And then, of course, a lot of familiar ones that I've seen before. But, yeah, I don't know if I like the character design too much. I don't know, the character design in this game I felt was kind of weird. I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of that. But overall, the graphics are good. I mean, graphics to me they're so unimportant for me in terms of like how I enjoy a game. It's not going to affect my enjoyment of the game all that much. And even though the graphics aren't very impressive, and it is kind of disappointing that they didn't do anything crazy with the 3DS version, they're still good for what they are. I mean, the game for a DS game, it looks quite good. So yeah, overall, Devil Survivor Overclocked, I really enjoyed it. And I gotta say, I was a bit surprised, because strategy RPGs have never really been like, I don't know, I want to like them more than I do. I'll say that. And I'm definitely open for recommendations for what to play next as far as strategy RPGs go, because I'm glad I was able to get into this. I think part of the reason, though, is because it's got that SMT-style battle system and the demon collecting and demon fusing, which I just love so much. So to have that kind of combined with like that grid-based, turn-based, the grid turn-based strategy gameplay, I thought was really interesting. I still haven't really seen many games like this. I definitely want to play the sequel now. Although I'm going to hold off until that 3DS version, like the overclocked version of that game, which I'm sure we'll see in North America. I'm pretty sure, at least. So yeah, in terms of strategy RPGs, I think I do prefer Ogre Battle 64. That's still my favorite strategy RPG. And the interesting thing with that game is that it's a real-time strategy RPG, and I hate real-time strategy. So it really, honestly, I was kind of amazed that I liked that game as much as I did. As far as Shin Megami Tensei goes, I think Digital Devil Saga is the next one I'm going to play. I think that's different enough. I was going to do Nocturne, Shin Megami Tensei 3, but I think I want to go with something a bit different. And I think the Digital Devil Saga games, as far as I know, there's like no demon fusing or anything like that. Which that's kind of interesting to me in a way. I hear those games are pretty brutal though, so I gotta get ready for that. But I don't know when I'll get around to that. Probably not for a while. There's a bunch of new releases I want to play, but anyways, that's Overclocked. If you like strategy RPGs, JRPGs, definitely play this. I mean, it's a great game. I'm sure, unless you just don't like Shin Megami Tensei at all, the chances are good you'll really like this game. I definitely did myself. So yeah, that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.